I want to stretch a little bit before our
Are we
talk.
stretching?
Yeah, so I can be present
Yes,
with
let's do it.
you.
Welcome to the Destination Workplace Show, a podcast that inspires CEOs, real estate, workplace, and HR leaders to create meaningful and purposeful employee experiences inside and outside of the office. My name is Nelly Hyatt, and I'm a work futurist. And I'm sitting down with leaders to talk about the future of the workplace, their vision and ambition for the next generation of employees, and how to have an impact.
My role specifically is workplace planning, program management. And so, I'm looking at our San Francisco headquarters, but then also kind of our broader portfolio to really just, kind of dive in. I mean, I think we've learned so much this year of, being away from the built environment. So I think the big question for us is how do our workplaces need to evolve? What have we learned and how do we create environments that really support people in the work that they're doing for when they do come back?
So in your role, I'm sure you're thinking a lot about return to work. Are you thinking that people will, or should DoorDashers or people at DoorDash should expect to go back to the same office, having the same perks, having a barista, I'm not sure what they had before, but should they expect to have the same experience that they had before? Or how are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think, to speak just kind of broadly, just across the industry, I think we can all agree that perhaps what we all left wasn't perfect. And I think that this time away from that relationship has made us, or given us the opportunity to kind of examine that relationship a little more thoughtfully. And so I will say that, to go back, I don't think it will be the same. I don't think it should be the same. And I think that we have learned so much this year collectively that it seems like a missed opportunity to not take this chance to really kind of reinvent and rethink. And I will also say that something that I'm very passionate right now and something that I'm really trying to kind of stay focused on, even in the context of workplace, is now that we've discovered that workplace can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
Those people that are responsible for the workplace experience, the employee experience that used to just be within the four walls, does their role now extend to more of the remote experience or the distributed experience, and how much responsibility do companies need to have to create a more unified, employee experience? So if I'm an employee at Doordash and I'm working in the San Francisco office, but then I want to go to Arizona to our Tempe office or to New York, or I'm going to work, remotely for a period of time. What is that kind of umbrella experience that I have, that no matter where I go, I know that I'm still part of this culture and part of this community? I think it's going to be really fascinating for workplace people to start to take on some of that responsibility.
I think that we were doing it somehow. Like we were already immersed in the culture, wanted to understand who is our audience and trying to create a space for them. But we were not empowered to look beyond the walls. And now we are, or we have to take the initiative because we cannot have these silo experiences of in office, at home, and in the transit in between. We want to be more mindful about what is happening, even when you're on your way to work.
Completely. And I think that to your point, looking at that full employee journey is going to be so critical, because I was saying this back in like March or April in the context of getting everyone back. It's, even if the workplace is safe and it's we've done everything we can at that end, I still have to get from home to work. There's still all of these touch points that I got to get through. And if we as employers are not acknowledging that journey, it's like.
And I know that's something that you are particularly attuned with because of your background in Eastern medicine.
Yeah.
How do we also, as workplace manager, how do we care for the mind of our employees?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think so much of my background, I have an undergrad in theater, I have a master's in Eastern medicine. And so, it's been interesting. It's been an interesting journey to kind of get me to this place in my career. But I think it's all really informed the work that I do. I think I posted on LinkedIn a while back, a company can provide, meditation and yoga and nap rooms and all of those things. but I'm not going to use those things if you're working me 14 hours a day, even in the context of the office. It's like, it doesn't, there's like a disconnect, just because you offer it doesn't mean you use it, because the environment doesn't support it is my point. So there has to be a balance. And I think, especially with this year and just the psychological and emotional strain that I think that we have barely begun to understand kind of the long-term impact that this year has had, not just on employees, but like children and families and everyone. I think it's going to be critical for employers. And I think employees are going to really demand it or expect it to be supported in more ways than just the perks and the kind of the frills.
They are individuals who are going through different ways of coping with what is happening, and they are showing up in a different way that maybe we would have expected. So how do we embrace this diversity that they have to create a diverse real estate portfolio to enable them to be complete?
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, because I think historically we were making a lot of big assumptions and making a lot of stereotypes. We were stereotyping that salespeople are loud and engineers want to be in a cave, and it's like, that's not how people work. I think even within the context of a sales group, there's going to be the different extremes. And something that I'm really trying to kind of focus on in the context of our workplaces, there's a lot of talk around neurodiversity and looking at kind of neurodivergent, that spectrum of sensitivity, hyper and hyposensitivity. And so for me, it's more about like creating opportunities, creating choice, creating a diverse array of space types that, no matter what your function is, no matter what your role is, if you're needing a quiet space, you can find it. If you need something that's a little bit more hustle and bustle, you can find it, and everything in between. And I think it would behoove us to stop stereotyping these kind of different user groups. I mean, understanding their needs for sure, but I think, looking at it from a lot of these different perspectives.
I have one last question for you. Yeah. Are you feeling that you are the drop? Like, are you feeling like when you say, we're meeting back on 15th of September.
Finish your question. Yeah.
Are you feeling that you are the one who have to pick a date on when people will get back to the office?
I think a company can pick a date by all means, but the reality is that people are going to come back when they feel like it's safe to come back.
Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Eric.
Always a pleasure chatting with you. It's good to see you. Thank you.